All right. As we build an audience, just wanted to do a quick little session today in preparation for the private Money Club Money Tank event out in Raleigh, North Carolina. We got two of our top speakers on. We got the Mike and Mike show going on, and we're talking real estate, but not just real estate. You know, I listen to a lot of stuff on YouTube. I listen to a lot of stuff on all the social media platforms, and there's so many people out there saying real estate's easy. Well, I have 274 flips under my belt telling you there is nothing easy about real estate. Yes, you can make a lot of money, but no, it is not easy. And then you talk passive income, and people think passive income means you just sit on your couch and checks show up. Well, I don't care what kind of real estate you're in, whether you're sitting there with a giant rental portfolio or you have notes or you have syndications, there is still work involved. There is nothing passive about any of that. And that's what I thought we'd talk about today. We'd bring the experts on and have them talk a little bit about their experience in real estate, what they're going to be bringing to the Raleigh event out on August 4th and 5th. So you guys all need to listen to this. And as we build an audience, we're going to rock and roll. So let's do this. All right, gentlemen, what's happening today?
Oh, it's a typical Monday. Good times, getting ready to set up a good week for us.
All right. What does it look like, in real estate with the level you guys are doing it? Because you're doing everything. I mean, you're doing wholesale, you're doing rentals, you're doing, ground up developments. I mean, what is a Monday like in your guys' lives? I mean, or is there even a weekend in your lives?
Actually, yeah, this weekend we took 24 hours. I was 100 miles offshore fishing. My phone didn't work, and it was beautiful. It was
that is a beautiful thing. Catch any fish?
Beautiful. Yeah, we did. We wound up doing really well, but it was nice to get away. But then you get back to it and you start thinking of what's going on. Typical day is really just you're prepping Sunday for the week, and yeah, I mean sometimes there is no weekend, but we love what we do, and it's not work. I think for us it's more the challenge and solving problems for us. I think, we deal with a lot of problems. And when you're a business owner, one of the best pieces of advice I ever got is once you solve all the problems, you get paid. And that is so true in any business you're in, especially real estate. As you know, Chris, it is a lot of problems. But the nice part is that if you have a system in place, you have people in place and you're scaling properly, those problems can be solved by other people. So you don't have to think about them all the time. And that's, I think, a lot of positions where a lot of people get into is they start in this real estate business and they're dealing with all these problems, becomes overwhelming because they don't have a system or they don't have resources to go out and find these people that can do a good job. As you know, one of the biggest things in renovations, which I deal mostly, Mike deals more with the raising of money and developments and the finance, is just finding good help. Getting these projects done on time. How do you do that? What does that actually look like? And it really boils down to the system for us and keeping, just staying on top of it and having the people to stay on top of it. But yeah, I mean, like today, typical Monday, I got a couple people have called off and now we're trying to scramble to get things done and, get those resources in place to make sure the ball keeps on moving.
Love it. So on the raising money side, it's tough. I would say Mike, but you're both Mike. So we'll just do raising money, Mike. What are some of the things that you go through with raising money for the deals? Because a lot of people, when they're looking at real estate, especially larger projects like developments, big rental portfolios, or even small rental portfolios, money's always their barrier. And a lot of times they don't get started because they think, oh, I don't have the money, so I just can't do this, or I have to wait until I have the money. What would you say to that person that's sitting on the sidelines waiting because they say, oh, I don't have any money, I can't do this?
Well, first of all, if you have a good project and it's simple enough to understand, you're going to raise the money for the project. And that's where a lot of people get into, where they overcomplicate it. They don't understand the numbers exactly. And that's really the part where I see things falling apart. So the simpler you can keep it, and it doesn't matter. It can be a 200 unit apartment building. It can still be a very simple, pro forma. You just put simple numbers down, keep it simple. And as long as your project is good, the money's always there.
I love that. Love that. So I know we're all going out to Raleigh, North Carolina, August 3rd and 4th, and we're going to have a pretty good audience there, not just live, because it is a live event, but we're also streaming virtual, so the people that can't maybe make the trip because of one thing or another, they can either watch it virtually or they can get the recordings after we're done. So what would you say the benefit of actually being live at an event like that would be versus doing it virtually?
I would say networking is huge, in a live sense. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I would agree. The networking, the last event we were at, it was just amazing. I mean, the people in that room, and us meeting some of these people from all walks of life. I mean, from lenders to people looking for money to successful business owners to people just getting started. It was a great event, the one in Salt Lake City. Even Mike and myself made some really great connections, with people either looking to lend money or looking to get in real estate with deals. I mean, it was wonderful. It's always nice too when you're so stuck in the business, and I don't say stuck in the business, but you're constantly growing your business, and you're in it, to get outside of it a little bit and go to an event like this and kind of network with people who are doing the same thing you are, and some people are doing it at a higher level than you are. And you always want to be around those people. You want to be around those people doing it at a higher level. It was an amazing event. I'm looking forward to Raleigh. I mean, just the networking alone and meeting people is one of the best parts for me.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, virtual is always great to get the knowledge, but to actually meet the people, shake the hands, build the relationships. I mean, if you remember at the last one, I mean, we had several borrowers, Kendrick being one of them, that raised a substantial amount of money. I think Kendrick raised 450 grand just by making relationships happen right there. And the funny thing too about what Kendrick did is, on Private Money Club, he had been speaking with a lender, Aiknot, and the two of them actually met up for the first time at that last MoneyTank event. And I'm sure we're going to have a lot of that kind of repeating scenario happen here, where people actually are meeting the lenders or the borrowers that they're doing business with on Private Money Club. And I think that's the coolest thing about events like this, where you come not to just be rah-rahed by a bunch of speakers, but actually to get shit done and make money. And when I think about Private Money Club and what we're creating here with this, through the coaching, through the platform, the community, and the forums and everything else, is really all about everything in Private Money Club is all about making you money. I mean, think about it. There's people with money that want to make more money. There's people that need money and they need money to make more money. And then everything else in the site is designed for that person to make money. It's literally the first community where everything in the community is designed to make the members money. And let's get back to real estate real quick. There's a lot of people out there talking about real estate right now being, not the best time, me being one of them, right now not being the best time. But then, I talk to my friends like Chris Rude, and I see his students making money every single day in wholesaling. So I know that the markets are cyclical. I know we're at a top on the market, but if you're nimble and you can get in and out of deals quick, like, what do you think the best opportunities are in this market? We're at a top, but are we at a top? Because I just see home prices climbing and climbing and climbing. It just gives me bad nightmares of 2006, 7, and 8. But where do you think we're at in the cycle?
I'll just from our personal experience, what we have done, we are sticking to the bread and butter flips. What is a bread and butter flip? It's a 3-2 home, a lot of big buyer pool, right? You got your FHA loans, you got your VA loans. Most states have some type of down payment assistance program. Georgia has something called the Georgia Dream Program. Now, the Georgia Dream Program allows like firefighters, police, right? Anyone in some type of civil service, where they can apply for a grant for a down payment. Now, if they stay in that home for 5 years, that grant takes over the down payment. They don't have to pay it back. So it's marketing, doing these type of flips. Are you making a killing on these flips? No, but you're making money, right? You're hitting singles and doubles and sometimes a triple. So what we've done is kind of taken our business model to say, hey, those luxury flips, which you can make a ton of money, but guess what? You can also lose a ton of money, or you can get caught where market goes sideways and, you can't sell for what you thought. And you're going to, the price drops 50 grand, which you thought you were going to make 100. Now you're making 50. And that goes down because, after everything you made 20 on $1 million flip. Is that worth it? Absolutely not. But we can take $125,000 to $165,000 flip, make 15 or 20 grand, and constantly do it. So that's where our focus has been. And for us, another reason, just like you said, Chris, we just don't have that crystal ball. We don't know what's happening. You hear one side, you're like, oh wow, the market's going to tank. Then you see prices continually going up or staying the same, and people are saying because it's inventory. So our model is, hey, if we do a flip, great. Let's look at a worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is, hey, we can't sell it for what we want to. We can refinance it, turn it into a rental property. So that's where our mind's been lately, for us, and especially in the SFR category, is just keeping it real simple. Like Mike said, there's something about that. Keeping it very simple, in and out, and making money. And our lenders are happy because they're making money. We're happy because we're making money. And a lot of these deals we're doing with none of our own money, so it's such a beautiful thing to do. And, you return on something like that, even though it's not that huge profit. And we're just very realistic, Chris. Like, we have the numbers down to a science. We look at every expense on a property, the water bill, the electric bill, everything that comes up, that goes into that property. That's a true expense. So we're getting very accurate numbers of what we're making per deal. And it helps us scale up our business. Where can we improve? And that's part of our system, is looking at things like that.
I really like that because, you had multiple things there, and it was exactly what me and Larissa did. And I think we just did too much, which is why I burned out, in the matter of a couple of years. But you had mentioned, your first target is to flip it. And it's funny. It brought me back as you were talking to a book. I've read it twice now. It's called The Wealthy Gardener. It's a long book, but it's about this guy whose goal was just to create an income stream based on his hard work and the money he's accumulated so that he could then fulfill the second phase of his life. And there's a lot more to it. But in there, his target, because he flipped houses, he was out of PA, and his target was 15 to 20 grand per house. And when I first read that, I'm like, oh my God, that's low. But he wasn't dealing in high-end houses. He was dealing in like lower-priced houses, and he was doing a really nice job on them to make 15 or 20. He could have made more, but he would have to sacrifice his quality. And he said his reputation was everything. But the thing that hit me when reading that book, and it kind of brought me back to when I first started flipping houses, is that 15 to 20 grand is a substantial amount of money for most people, because that could be, you can flip a house, my gosh, in a quarter. You can do it in 6 months, but that's in addition to other stuff that you're doing to make money. So to make an extra 15 or 20 grand, that's life changing for people. And that book brought me back to that. But then, like you said, if it doesn't sell, like if you weren't going to make your set profit, then you just refinance it and you rent it out, and then you've got that income stream. And that's exactly what he did in that book. And that's what me and Larissa did. We had many projects that we would do that we got into trouble, we weren't going to make the money, or we'd try to sell it first and it just wasn't getting the response. We'd immediately flip it or turn it over to a rental. And I still have some of those rentals. Matter of fact, I just sold one that I paid $29,000 for. I rented it from 2014 right till I think 2 months ago, and we just sold it for $121,000. So that's the beauty of real estate, is there are so many different paths that you can choose. But I want to get to Timothy's question here. Timothy said from YouTube, if you had $200,000 plus in a HELOC, now remember it's a home equity line of credit, where would you invest that money with rates pushing past 9% plus? What would you guys say?
I would put it into real estate and diversify it. So I wouldn't just buy one project or two projects. That could be a down payment for multiple properties, and that's probably the better way to go about it. And to your point, you said something about wholesaling and not knowing. The thing is in this market, there's so many different exit strategies that even in 2008 and that whole era didn't even exist. Some of these long-term or these short-term rentals, vacation homes. I mean, there's so many different things now. So if you're going in and wholesaling a project, you're coming out, you're investing, an earnest money deposit, and done and right, you're not even putting that at risk. But you're able to flip it to other people who have these exit strategies, and there's a lot of people still in the market looking for projects like that. So that is a great safe strategy. But rentals are the type that Mike was talking about. Don't go buy a luxury one, plop it all down on a huge mortgage. Find 3 or 4 that you can invest in, get a mortgage on it, hold them as rentals if you need to. But that's where I would suggest putting it.
How about you, Mike? What would you tell Timothy to do with $200,000, knowing that it costs 9% to use that cash?
It just, where's your return? If you can get a 12% return, you're paying 9%, you rent it out. If you took that 200,000 and you put $50,000 down on 4 properties, you look at it as a whole, you get the loan. Now you have four assets, right? And you got them in, let's say they're making a couple $100 a month cash flow, just to be, conservative here. But look at it as a whole. If you did a 5-year plan, like we look at our rentals at a 5-year plan, because if you look at a 1-year plan, the chances of you making money, I mean, you can, but you've got to cycle through a little bit. And we look at a 5-year plan. What does that look like over 5 years? That's including appreciation, even at 3%, on a $200,000 asset. What's that look like? Then we have depreciation. Then we add our cash flow. And then we're looking at, hey, a principal buy down. Someone else is paying that mortgage for us. Hopefully, if everything goes right, someone else is paying that mortgage for us. And, what does that look like as a whole? And what's our return? That's the way we look at it. People want to take, and there's 2 schools of thoughts, Chris. Take the cash, just buy one property, rent it out, no mortgage, no debt, which we have. We have properties, no debt on them. Then there's the other side. Well, how much could I really grow by leveraging that money properly? And I think that's one of the things about the Private Money Club, is that with someone with that type of capital, how do I do it right? What are some different scenarios I can look at? And I would tell them to look at a couple different scenarios, and what do they really look like? And don't think in months, think in years, especially in investing. The one thing I love about rental real estate, and especially in this FSR space, is that it's very forgiving over a long period of time. You're going to have ups and downs, but it's just forgiving if you hold on to it long enough. And anyone who's been in real estate for a long period of time will tell you that if you hold on to it long enough, you'll make money.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And then, another thing, Tim, that I would add to that is, something that I mostly do, and that is just be the bank and lend money. So, you could go to someone like Mike. Mike, what are you guys paying on your borrowed money right now?
Anywhere from 8 to 12%.
Okay. So for this individual, he would need to be at 12. And if he did that, he'd make a spread. I just did the math of $6,000 from 9 to 12. It's not a heavy spread, but maybe 12% is not enough. On Private Money Club, I see deals all the time, 15, 16, 17%. So that's another way, but you could also diversify, take 100 of it, lend it out at 12% to 15%, take another 100 and do what they just said, find yourself some deals. That way you mix the bucket up and you got a chance of making a lot more money in 2 different places. One is steady Eddie money. And how I would do it is I would try to plan it so that whatever you're borrowing, the cash flow that it makes pays the monthly payment on the home equity line of credit. I do this all the time. I make sure that the home equity line of credits, if it's an equity deal where I'm trying to make money on the back end, I make sure that project or loan, in my case, makes enough for me to cover the expense on the home equity line so that my life isn't changed. I don't have a new expense. It's all covered. And then the difference is the spread, if you will, would be mine to keep or would be toward the back end on the equity side. So there's lots of different ways to do that, Tim, but really it's just whatever way fits your fancy. I mean, this is all stuff we talk about at the event, the MoneyTank event. So if you're interested in coming out, I got a really good discount I just threw up there, 50% off the tickets. You can come to the event. in person, get 50% off general admissions. That's August 3rd and 4th. And if you can't make it, you could do the virtual tickets right there. And I just put the virtual ticket up, and that would be 50% off that. So it brings your ticket from, I believe, $297 down to $197. So we're, chopping the price down. But there's all the discount codes, the links, and everything if you want to join myself, Mike, and so many others out at the event in Raleigh, North Carolina. And that would be a ton of fun. Yep. So I'm sorry, my mistake. It's actually more than that. It drops from $297 to $97 for the virtual. So I just said $197, but it takes it down to $97. Let's see. What else do we got? We got any other questions? I know somebody else just put in. Yes, there is construction in the background. They're in real estate. So that only fits the part here, saws and pounding. I mean, let's see.
Chris, to go off something you just said, though, about being a private lender, when you team up with good investors who know what they're doing and have a system in place, the lenders are happy because they're not worried about taking back a property. They're not worried about they're getting paid. And it really does become some sort of passive income because you're not in that business. Like we're in the business. It's even the rental properties. We have a property management company. I run the property management company. We're in the business. I deal with problems all day long. I like it. I like it. It's me. I figure that out about myself. I want to keep it interesting. But for some of our investors, they're not involved. I give them an update once a month. We send them, once the property closes, they get their capital back plus their interest. And they're like, when can we do this again? So when you have that, like you said, when you find some good investors or good deals like Mike was talking about, where it's just simple to understand, you can see it. It does become for a lender passive income. Every once in a while, a lender's got to do something where they got to take back an asset. It happens. We're speaking reality here. That does happen in real estate. But if you're set up right, like I've seen what the Private Money Club does for people by their coaching programs, teaching a lender how to lend, because you can have a bunch of money, you can lend it out there and lose it too. But knowing how to set that up, and I think that's what you've done a beautiful job, Chris, is just teaching lenders how to lend their money. And then, we're teaming up with you saying, hey, even if you're a lender, learn about real estate, learn about the asset class, because I think you said this, and I agree with you. I heard you say this event, the best lenders were investors first. They were in this business and they learned it. And then they were out there and now they're lending their money because they're happy 10 to 12%, they're not worried about it. They know the money, they know the deal's right. It's structured right. Worst case scenario, they take it back, they get their money back. And even sometimes they'll make more money by taking it back and selling it because they sell it at a higher price. Sometimes it just takes a longer period of time.
Yeah. And I think that's the key thing, as we've built out this whole infrastructure and this whole community. It started with, I hate to say it, me and a napkin with Steven. It's like I've been on two sides of a coin. I was the real estate investor where I needed money. So I got really good at borrowing money, and not just from banks and hard money lenders, but also private lenders. And I always preferred the private lenders because I built relationships. And the worst day for a private lender was the day that I paid them their money back. True statement. Like every time I would pay a lender back, I'm super excited. I'm like, yes, we sold the deal or we refinanced the deal and we got the money to pay the lender back. He's going to be so excited or she's going to be so excited. They get the money and they're like, do you have another deal? We don't really need this money. We got used to the check that we got every month from you. And it's just like, holy crap. And then I sold a lot of my real estate, my rentals, and then I had money. So then I started lending the money out. Now it's very difficult for me to ever think about going back into real estate in the capacity that I was in, because now I can put my money to work, make my money go to work for me, while I can go out and do things like teach the infinite banking concept and build private money clubs. So now my time is spent doing something that I'm passionate about, where back when I was in real estate, like you two, I was passionate about real estate. That's all I wanted to do, but I just burned out. We all have cycles in whatever we do. I burned out, but I pivoted. But that experience I had in real estate has served me well. And that's why, like your coaching program, why we linked up with the two of you to create the real estate side, because kind of like what Tim said, he said, I've never done a real estate deal, so I think I'm going to do private lending. But like the important thing, what you just said, Mike, is if Tim were to just learn a little bit about real estate, like coming to an event like MoneyTank or going through the coaching program, not because he wants to do real estate, but because he wants to lend money, he will be in a much better position to underwrite the deal the proper way. And or Noah's on here. I don't know if you guys saw that he's commenting, going through Noah's accelerator coaching to learn how to be a lender and a borrower. Both sides. Like a lot of lenders think that they only need to learn how to be a lender, but you don't. You need to learn how to be a borrower too. And I will tell you, because if you understand what a borrower has to go through as a lender, you'll be able to build stronger relationships and protect your money more. And as a borrower, if you understand what a lender has to go through, the borrower will be so much more effective at raising money and doing it the proper way by understanding the process. I mean, the whole system, like you mentioned, systems, processes, and procedures, that's all it is. It's literally just getting people to the point where they feel ultimately so comfortable with every deal they do. The comfort comes with experience, education, and application. And that's exactly what you guys do and what you're going to do at the Private Money Club. So real quick, for anybody watching this right now, we got 25, we had about 30 people, but we're coming to the end of today's little session with Mike and Mike. If you're interested in joining us at Private Money Club, I put the link up there so y'all can see it in the comments there. And I'll post it one last time. It's going to give you the ability to buy in-person general admission tickets for half off. So you can get those, and there's the discount code right there in front of you, PMC 300. Just go to the link, privatemoneyclub.com/MoneyTank. Enter the code PMC 300. You get your tickets half off. And then, as Shauna just told me, if you want to join virtually, we've got a whole virtual setup. So you'll see everything you would see, in the live event, except for you can't shake hands, build relationships, do the fun things like hang out. You can get the virtual tickets today only for $97. And the virtual plug-in right there is, why did it not come up there? I apologize. I didn't put the virtual one in, but it is very simple. It's PMC virtual. I'll put the virtual link. Discount is PMC virtual. You put that in and your $297 virtual ticket drops to $97. So we had somebody else, and we'll get one more question. Facebook user said, "Hey guys, did you have a question for Mike and Mike here?" We'll give them a second. And also, while we're waiting for the Facebook user to put a question in, do you guys have any final parting words in terms of like this audience and what they could expect, or what you think they should be doing as first steps if they're looking at either lending or getting into real estate in any capacity?
I think the one thing I'm going to say about what we offer in the Private Money Club is, like Mike said, we're going to keep it simple, right? This is not a complicated business. We're going to lay out something that's very easy to digest, and that I believe that people with it'll instill confidence in people to go out and do this. And like you said, Chris, it doesn't matter where you're at. I don't care if you've done 100 deals or you've done none. Coming to an event like this, learning about it's always that one little thing when you get to a certain level that takes you to the next level. And I know myself, I know Mike, I know you, we're always seeking for that one little thing. We're seeking for that one little thing that's going to help us just get a little bit better, and a little bit better and a little bit better. And I think that's what we're going to offer. Real estate's out there. I mean, you can go to YouTube, you can find stuff about real estate, but what we're going to show you is just really what's going on in real estate. We're in it, we're in the thick of it. And we just have laid out this very simple concept that I believe anyone can understand. And we're going to show that to the people at the event.
Love it. And I love this as the last question coming in. Rob came in, and this is a huge question right now. I hear this all the time. I'm surprised they don't talk about it more on the trainings. But Rob over from Facebook said, should I use a real estate company to sell my duplex, or should I sell it, do a for sale by owner? Also as is, or upgrade units first? These are great questions. I'll let you two answer that. So two-part question. Should he use a brokerage or a realtor or a real estate company to sell his duplex, or should he do it for sale by owner because the market's hot? Second part is, should he do as is, or should he upgrade the units first?
It just depends. The real estate company, we use realtors to sell our properties. We also sell off market. It's just how much time do you have? You factor your selling cost is 6%. So whatever that duplex is minus 6%, because that's what it's going to cost you to sell it. Do you want to take the phone calls? Do you want to deal with the inspections? Do you want to deal with all that? If you're open to doing that, hey, there's nothing wrong with for sale by owner. You're just going to deal with all of that. You know, a realtor will help take that off your plate. They'll be getting, and they're going to be able to list it on an MLS where there's going to be a lot of people. On Zillow, what you don't realize is that for sale by owners don't come up like other properties. Sometimes you have to set a filter in Zillow to look for just for sale by owners. So it might not get as much exposure as like the MLS, depending how fast you want to sell it, is the way I would look at it. Upgrading the units. I mean, hey, again, look at it like an investment. If I spend 20 grand on it, am I going to get what I'm supposed to get out of it? Also, an upgraded unit is going to sell a lot quicker than for depending what you want to get out of it. You know, if you list it right and price it right, you could sell it very quick, you know. But if you upgrade it, you're definitely going to get more money. That's the way I would personally look at it. What's my return on that investment in upgrading it?
Yep. Yeah. Will you get your money out of it? And like Mike said, it will sell quicker, upgraded. But again, if you can't, get the money that you're putting into it, look at it both ways.
Yeah, and Rob, I'll just give one other thing too, because I deal with this a ton. Is we've always used a realtor to sell our properties, and not because we couldn't sell it, ourselves or for sale by owner. My wife is actually a realtor, so she shares in some of the commission, depending on the deal. But a lot of times we've actually had realtors that we don't share in the deal list their properties because they have the right clientele that we're looking for. I mean, at the end of the day, our money that we're going to make is on the sale. And if a realtor has those buyers for our property and we've vetted that realtor or brokerage company that they have those buyers, then that's paid off, in droves. The second part is, with the as is or rehab, I seriously, like right now, I've been on both sides. Recently, the couple houses that I've sold and made the most amount of property, I sold as is. I did go in and paint. After the tenant moved out, I painted the walls, but just quick paint, like all white. And, if any of the flooring was peeling off, we would do that. But I'm not talking about renovations. I'm talking like, what do you guys call that?
I call it prehabbing. Prehabbing, yeah. Something where you're just, like you just said, it's actually called wholetailing, and a lot of it sometimes where they just come in and clean it up really quick. And that could be a paint, that could be cleaning the carpets, and that's it. And then they list it.
I think that's the way to go, because getting into a renovation, putting kitchens and bathrooms in, what a lot of people don't realize is how expensive and how time consuming that is. Finding contractors right now is very difficult. So I think the prehab would be a really good way, or just try list. Here's another thing you could do is you could try to just list it as is and put it at a price, a aggressive price, and put no money into it, because the people that are going to be looking at it are going to be looking at doing their own touch on it anyway. And if it doesn't sell there, take it off the market, do the prehab, and then relist it. And actually then you get a second chance at going at the same deal. That's what I would do with it, because me and my wife are joking around. We got a house on the market right now for sale that's a complete renovation. I mean, soup to nuts, $260,000 rehab, and it's beautiful. I mean, and everybody that goes in there nitpicks the stupidest shit. You guys know. I mean, it pisses me. I want to go to the realtor and choke the realtor for even allowing those comments to come through to us. It's like, are you out of your mind? Go build a house if you want something, exactly the way you want. But that same buyer that is complaining about like this or that, like things I don't even understand, will go and buy a full rehab house that is $50,000 less, having no concept that it's going to cost them $200K to renovate the house to make it what they want. But they thought they got a deal because they bought it $50,000 less than a completely renovated house. That's a very common mistake that we see with buyers. And I like to say not just buyers, but uneducated buyers. So Rob, try listing it without the renovations and see, you might be really freaking surprised. But with that being said, folks, David mentioned patchwork. I hope all of you got some value. One last time, there's the link. If you guys want to join us for Private Money Club out in Raleigh, North Carolina, there's your discounts. But with that being said, thank you all for your time, your energy, and your effort for joining us for this live. And we've got lots more this week, so I'm sure we'll see you on the Wealth webinar or the Money Club Monday or any of our other live shows. But Mike and Mike, thanks so much for your time this morning. I know it's a Monday and you guys got lots of stuff to do, so I'm going to set you free, and I'm also going to get back to it. With that being said, thanks for joining us. We'll see all of you out at the Private Money Club Money Tank event.
Thanks, Chris.